Are you sure you're fine?
No.
All right,
Not
good, because
fine.
we're live.
I don't know.
Oh, got us.
Have a
that's-
transition out the
That's
corner of my
becoming like a
You
thing
did
for
that.
us. We were just talking about like going live laughing should be a thing for us. I think what I've ended up doing is catching us in a weird candid moment going live, and then we end up laughing at it.
That's the way to do
Oh
it.
man.
It is.
It's real.
It is the best way.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome to TPK Roleplay's Queen's Gambit, a Tyranny of Dragons campaign. I'm Dat Magic Juice. I'm the DM and shepherd of this particular clouder. We're gonna do recap a little bit differently today. We're gonna sort of mix it with the introductions of the players and characters. So I'll do a brief, more general recap of our last session, and then we'll go through starting with Sir Heck through the left to right as usual. And because our last session was really roleplay heavy in contrast to the first few sessions we've had, I'd like us to, when you introduce your character, if you are up for it, if you could maybe highlight something or a couple of things that you learned or expressed about your character in the last session that we wouldn't necessarily have gotten from just the town's on fire, go, that we started out with. Does that sound good, guys?
For sure.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. So in our last session, we came out of the dragon hatchery, which we had found out was essentially a place that was being used for breeding and training various beasts for the dragon cult, or at least this particular raiding party of the dragon cult. That was after, I know I'm reaching a couple sessions back, but I think it bears mentioning that this was coming out of this was after a couple actually of difficult decisions between, okay, do we stick to the timeline we originally communicated with these other people in the world of like, we'll be gone for maybe a day and come back with hopefully a prisoner. And it ended up being more like was it 3-day excursion of running into important big bad guys and following them and then deciding to continue into this hatchery. Rather than you did find the monk that you were looking for, and he was okay. But yeah, that whole plan ended up expanding into a lot more than it was. So we get back to Greenest and meet with Leosin, Nessim, Governor Nighthill, and I wanted to say the constable. That's not right. That's the wrong campaign. What's the other name, guys? Pop quiz.
Sergeant Markguth.
Sergeant Markguth. That's it.
I mean,
Thank you.
Sure, that's one thing to call
Look
it.
at that.
Yeah. So in going back, actually the monks were actually already gone. You had intended to meet them back there, but they were already gone to your surprise. And it was explained to you that this was due to the urgency of the information that has been gleaned to this point between you and Leosin. So he wanted to get a head start on heading back to Elturel to meet his contact or contacts, and left essentially information and messages with the governor and sergeant for you, to get you guys sort of organized, caught up, and on your way there yourselves. So we covered all of that. We went through the first about half of travel between Greenest and Elturel, which is on the screen now. And we got a little bit more character development along the way, learned a little bit more about you guys and where you're at in the game, in the setting, in the world. And we ended off with a brief interaction with a man named Arthagast, or he introduced himself as Arthagast through your fire. Very Sirius Black-esque. So it seems that you have some amount of accolades and praise from this Council of Waterdeep, which I will say in character, all of you would have some, maybe varying, but some level of understanding of like a broader or higher up governing body in the major city of Waterdeep. So this should come across to you in varying degrees as like a, whoa, like we actually got noticed sort of thing. And that you have tasks ahead of you as well as potential rewards, in that you're essentially doing important work. I was going to say you're being watched, but that doesn't give the right vibe. You are being tracked in a way, but it's not meant to be like, ooh, look out sort of thing. It's meant to be like there's extra weight behind your purpose at this point, especially tied to your factions and contacts. So, with that being the case, if I miss anything major that you want to add in, we can incorporate that with your brief introductions. So, Sir Heckalot, if you don't mind starting us off with who you are, who your character is, and if you would like something that we may have gleaned from the role-playing and development aspect of the last session that we might not have gotten before that.
For sure, for sure. Hello, everybody. It's me, Sir Heckalot. You know, I'm back. What is up? What is up, guys? I'm going to be playing Aster, the druid shifter circle of wildfire. And, yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head in terms of, like, yeah, what's going on in the party. At least, like, in the last session, or maybe 2 sessions. Something that I've been noticing with Aster especially is, you know, she's already kind of skeptical of herself using and controlling fire, but now that she's seeing other casters doing it, she's kind of suspicious of them too. Like first with the Kessin, I know that was a throwaway thing, but still had a pretty big impact on her actually. And now this guy that's just like talking to people through a campfire, I don't know, she's kind of sus of it. So it's possibly getting worse. She has a lot of thoughts, guys. please help my little druid person. But yeah, other than that, I think she is really growing into the family dynamic. She and Icarus had a pretty wholesome conversation talking about it last session. I think that had a big impact, and hopefully she's like trying to get everyone to, yeah, be a more cohesive family unit and bring like Ulta into it too, especially. And yeah, I think that's it. Let's move on.
Me next, right?
Yes.
Hi.
I gotta make you bigger.
What?
I'm
What?
making you bigger while you talk.
I'm big. Hi, I'm actually playing our biggest party member because I'm a tall boy. I'm playing Eliseo, the Time Wizard. And something that I learned about my character last week / half an hour before the session is like, oh, hey, I know one of the people that we've been chasing.
Ish.
I have had, yeah, sort of, ish, kind of. I've had a list as part of my backstory, and I swear I have looked at that list multiple times. And then after last game, Magic was like, hey, psst, you know this name. And I'm like, why? He's like, it's on your list. So yeah, I have a list of people that I'm trying to track down to find out more about my past encounters with the dragon cult, of which I have many. So that's something that I hope is developing soon.
Okay, and before we go to Hyacinth, real quick, Eliseo, I'm totally just flipping between your like persona names and your character names, so
That's
hopefully, hopefully that's okay with you guys. This list that you have, is this something that you would have shared with anybody and or everybody by this point, or is that just something that we should know is out of character at this point?
Juno would know, and I think that's probably it.
Okay.
Because
Awesome.
Juno has spouse privileges.
Okay. All right. I will let you two DM that back and forth with each other if there's anything you want to exchange to make sure you're both on the same page with all that.
Cool.
Hyacinth, you're up.
Hi, it's me, Hyacinth. Yes, I am playing Icarus, Twin 2, which is funny because I always introduce myself first. I am the Bardlock. And one thing I learned about Icarus through roleplay is that he kind of, you know, like the general bard, he always like assumes everyone's friends. Like he made friends with Ulta and Aster really quick on the road and was like, we're gonna stick together, this will be great. Like, just like quick to befriend, but like not really quick to make anything deeper. And he's kind of been realizing that, there are deeper bonds that he's making. And, as he had a heart-to-heart with Aster, and, he just kind of, he's had a warlock patron for a while, but he just kind of like worked on and or realized the actual bond there last session. So that was very exciting. And I'm interested to see how these continue.
Awesome.
Me next. Hi guys, it's me, Corndog. I'm playing Juno, the Elvish cleric. There we go. And I think something that Juno, unlike her brother, who is very like quick to befriend people, Juno tends to be a little bit more skeptical and like very observant of people before she's like, I want to engage with this person and like bring them in. But I think like she's met two people that have definitely like struck up her curiosity, and like seeing Aster as a shifter but also druid, and just like what Aster brought to the party, like that was like very overtly powerful to Juno in her mind, and she's like, okay, like Aster don't fuck around.
Yeah.
And then with Ulta, like it's constantly been being surprised by someone. Like you're standing next to someone that you're constantly like underestimating, I guess. And then like watching Ulta in our first like real encounter go up and fight Beefy McBeeferson. And
That's his
like,
name now.
Yeah, new name.
Yep, changing it in my notes already.
But she's very curious about the two people who have joined her party, because she sees one as like overtly powerful and one as like she needs to like check herself, because she's been underestimating this person that's standing alongside her. And so I think she definitely wants to get to know both of them a lot more than she has. And I think she's also coming to terms with the fact that she also has powers, and like what that looks like outside of like just practicing at home and figuring out how to actually use her blessings.
Awesome.
All right. My name's Chrissy. I'll be playing Ulta, our Kobold Swarmkeeper Ranger. So, yeah. Something I'm learning about Ulta that maybe even the party wouldn't know, or some stuff about her. So, yeah, I think she's kind of in the same boat as Juno. She's super skeptical of people. That doesn't mean she's not accepting, but she's just like, all right, well, let's see how this goes. Like, you kind of have to prove yourself, sort of thing. And she's starting to get really nervous because her name is specifically getting brought up in a lot of different ways, and she's being kind of like singled out. So she's like, she's really uncomfortable right now in a lot of ways. People are hyper focused on the fact that now she doesn't have a shadow. She spent a majority of the entire last episode being like poked and prodded. She doesn't know these people. Some guy showed up in the fire, called her out. So she's like, what? Like, while also trying to obviously navigate like, oh, these are new people. I want to try to get to know them, but I don't know if I trust them yet or not. So yeah, there's a lot of big feelings in a tiny little kobold body.
Awesome. I think it's the last thing I'll cap all of that off on is something you may have noticed by now, but if you haven't, we'll say that in character you may have, or like it would have been more obviously in character. The vast majority of people that you've encountered have been human. Like, the one exception, I believe, has been Langdadrosa Signwrath, the half-dragon. Almost everyone in Greenest has been human. Leosin actually is another exception, but he's half-elf, so very close. You guys are a mix of elves and kobold and Aster. I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting. Are you shifter?
Shifter.
Yeah, Wild Hunt Shifter.
Yep. Okay, and then
Asimar.
Asimar. Yeah, like the exotic nature, the exotic concentration within these 5 people is like blatantly obvious compared to the general settings that you've been in so far. So you haven't had any real reaction to that from your environment yet, but you guys in character would be noticing that by now. And I think even out of character, it already has, but it's going to continue to make your interactions and progressions through this campaign really interesting, and I'm excited for it. So we ended off with you guys going into an evening, and your campfire sort of formed into this. Yay for notes. Starts with an A. Where did it go?
Radagast.
Or
Just
man.
I had it written down as
Arthur.
Radagast.
Not Radagast. Not here.
It was like Arthur something. Arthur.
Arthagast.
Arthagast.
Yes.
Arthur Radagast. That's
Yeah.
his name.
Not.
So we ended with him introducing himself to you, sort of throwing this Council of Waterdeep idea into the mix, and this like encouragement that you guys are doing good things and that there's like bigger purpose now to what you've done and found out so far. So that's where we enter with this session. So I know it's a little bit heavier on the RP side, but is there any way that you guys would react to that now that his visage sort of dissipates back into the fire? Would you be discussing anything in particular about it?
Juno will lift up her tinted glasses to look at the fire and be like, "We all saw that, right?"
Yeah.
Elisa would probably poke the fire, to be honest, like with their hand, because just checking a second.
I'm going to be honest. That's not what I expected to happen at all, or just ever. Or are things getting weirder for you guys? It feels weird.
I mean, it didn't start till you showed up, so
Well, we all know I bring the weird.
Eliseo and Corndog and Sir Heckalot. Actually, all of you to some degree, but Eliseo in particular, I'll say. While it may have been startling at first that a person showing up in a fire happened in the first place, you would know that like various forms of magical communication exist. So that form of it wouldn't necessarily ring as like a red flag or a green flag for anybody in particular. You know that type of magic exists as far as people trying to communicate with other people.
So it's just like an aesthetic version of sending.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, mechanically that might be the case, but you don't know if that's necessarily the case as far as like the exact spell that was being cast, if that's what you're going for.
Yeah. I mean, like, okay, a spell like sending, but make it fashion. Like that's where my head went.
Send a bird like Animal Messenger.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Could you have done it in a less spooky way?
Yeah, it's making an entrance, all right.
Oh, was it supposed to be impressive?
I mean, I don't know. Have you ever talked out of fire?
No.
I feel like that was super impressive for sure.
Well, I just like overlooked the impressive for the scary though, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has a connotation. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
We all good, right? Yeah.
That's the second time someone has said that, though. That's the second time someone has said we're meant for greater things. If you guys remember the cave as well.
Yeah, I kind of wish we would be given a list of what like greater things we're meant to accomplish.
Yeah,
What
this
does-
is
I
really
just, yeah, I
vague.
wish I knew what it meant.
Is it like a compliment or like a prophecy?
or like a
Don't
job
know.
that we have to do. Like now there's an expectation that we have to do great things.
Oh.
Did anybody recognize him?
Hmm,
Did we, Gio?
did we?
Did any of us recognize Arthur Gast? Hello,
let's see
God?
here.
Did I?
No, that would be. Actually, that's not true. Ulta, that would be a vaguely familiar name. May or may not be tied with the Lord's Alliance, but you know that through your faction is where you may have heard that name in the past.
All right. I will make sure I share that with the crowd and say I have no idea who that guy is, but I think I've heard the Lord's Alliance talk about him a time or two.
In like a good way or a bad way?
Good question.
Okay,
I don't have an answer.
that's fine.
I'm
But yeah.
completely missing a joke here.
I'm sorry. I did something stupid in chat. Don't mind me.
No, I see it.
Such
but
dumb in
Whoop.
chat. Do you remember the musical Arthur show or episode?
No.
No.
There's a
No.
musical episode of Arthur, and
Oh.
someone asked if Arthur Gast had a library card, to which I sang a song from the show,
Gotcha.
and then was responded to by Sir Heck, and then it was just everything in my brain went black, and I had like no context of the conversation because all I could think of was the brain singing that song.
Nice.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Anyway,
All right, steering back to the track. Okay, so yes, Ulta, if you, I think I caught in there whether or not you think that's associated, that name is associated with like good or bad.
Correct.
Do you want to try to find out?
I would. I just didn't. I wasn't sure if I was already privy to that or not.
Sure, we can do a history check for that. So yeah, there's
For
a
sure.
certain amount, like given your backgrounds and histories, there's a certain amount that we won't check for. We know certain things to be true, and then the rest will be like gleaning additional information. That's what we'll check for.
That
It's
was
a
a
6.
6.
Yeah, it's really hard for you to tell.
I'm gonna walk up
Alright,
to the fire
fine.
and just look at everyone and go, if I put it out, do we get no more unwanted visitors? Should I do that? Is that how that works?
they probably communicate any way they wish.
Yeah,
Okay. I mean, what's the odds it'll happen twice?
now that you've
As you
asked
say that, the fire
probably
erupts. No, I'm
infinitely
kidding.
higher.
The fire erupts, but just erupts, nothing else. It just hurts.
Okay, so unless there's anything else, we can pretty much pack up for the night. Oh, Niffer, you did have something else?
Yeah, I have
Okay.
in my notes that we got a good table at the end of last session, and you were
We
gonna
did
start
for
it.
You
Mr.
did.
Rogers.
Thank you. I even
Welcome.
highlighted big and pink right here, and I didn't notice it.
Pink.
Rip.
It's the best.
I know, right?
That's why I write things down too.
Yes.
Just so you guys know, as my brother asked, it certainly wouldn't happen again. I'm just going to nudge Alta,
Oh, no.
who's sitting next to me, be like,
Oh no.
this. And I'm just going to whisper very quietly into the fire, and just cast thaumaturgy at it, and just, cause it to like get real bright all of a sudden, right as my brother's standing over it.
I'm like about to like kick my foot in it, and I'm like, oh my god!
Mhm.
Eliseo was definitely standing by it looking too, so I feel like we kind of Scooby-Dooed it and just like grab each other's seconds. Like, yeah.
Bloody
Alta-
Moonweaver. I don't know curses in this world.
Yeah, Alta will definitely chuckle at that. For sure.
I'll just, like,
Ruh-roh,
look at the group and be
Eliseo.
like, I thought it was funny.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Just because I have a feeling she saw Aster get tense out of the corner of her eye, and she's like, I should make people aware that this was a joke.
Time to
Yep.
diffuse the situation with fire.
wait a minute. Okay, so at this point, you have, like, before that whole event happened, you had basically set up camp here for the evening. I don't know if you guys still planned on doing watches of any kind or not. You would know that you're on a well-known, well-traveled path. You're not too far outside of an established town, Burdusk, to your south. So yeah,
I would assume that Sister and I would still split the 8-hour night into
Yeah.
our 4-hour sleep shifts,
okay.
And,
just because it's the easiest for us.
and Puff would probably stay awake too. So, because owl and stuff.
And I mean, if people like want to stay awake and help, like in like 2-hour shifts or something like that, that'd be cool. But
Yeah, totally
Yeah,
fine with that.
I will.
Between
Esther with her shifter eyes. Yeah.
look with your
Look with your shifter eyes.
My friend.
I give you bardic inspiration just for the heck of it. But I'm gonna between Juno and my shift, I would want to walk over and converse, or like you probably take the night shift, honestly.
oh yeah, I take the darkest part of the night.
So like when you go to wake me up, I'll like try to like hold you for a conversation for a little bit.
Okay.
Hold me.
Yeah, like wait before you go. Like I want to
No,
talk.
like
Not
hold
like
you.
literally hold your attention.
Hold me. Okay.
No, we all know I'm the little spoon here.
So first, watch your perception check, please.
Yeah, I could do that. If I can remember where I put my character sheet. Here we go. Perception. Boop. It's an 18.
Nice. Okay, so you don't encounter any like people or creatures of any kind. The evening's pretty calm, aside from a brewing storm far, far to your east. You can tell that it is at least beyond the horizon of your view with this wooded area directly to your east. And with an 18, you can tell that it's actually pretty strong. Not your typical storm, and it doesn't. You don't really get enough time to tell if it's moving or not, but you can tell it's pretty strong.
Okay. Well, like kind of close to the end of her watch, as the storm is like doing whatever it's doing, she will begin to ritually cast Leoman's tiny hut over her party, so that way everyone, if the storm does come this way, no one gets rained on. So just kind of being like, oh yeah, I probably should have like pitched a tent earlier. Fortunately, everyone's sleeping next to each other because that's what's happening in my brain. And she'll just kind of like slowly and quietly walk around and ritually cast the hut.
Nice.
And then at the end of her watch, she'll technically have to be inside of it. So that's when she would wake her brother up.
Do you want your hut to have a certain look?
Eventually, yes. Have I come
Okay.
up with it now? No.
Okay. So I didn't mean to put you up on the spot, but
I have a feeling it's going to be very similar to... I've been thinking a lot about like her shrouds and stuff that she has. So it's going to be a similar aesthetic to that. I just have to figure out what vibe that is. And I haven't been on Pinterest today. So
fair enough. Okay. So aside from noticing a rather powerful storm to your far, far east, nothing else disturbs your evening. So we'll do... You said, Icarus, you said you wanted to do something
Yeah.
in
so
between
as-
watches?
As
Sorry.
she wakes me up, I'll be like, Juno, can I have a word for a minute?
sure.
I was thinking about things, and you're normally a little bit better at, some things than me, and I want to ask from your experience, when did you know that the Moonweaver was with you?
I don't really remember when. It's been, I feel like she's been here for a couple hundred years.
Well,
I don't know if there was ever like a spot where like I knew. I guess maybe my wedding when she showed up at it, like that was pretty dope. But
so
I don't think I ever was not aware of her presence.
Okay, so you, like, she appeared to you, or like you always like, did it start before she appeared to you, or did you just kind of always like talk to her?
Well, Mom encouraged me talking to her at a very young age, and I just I guess sometimes it feels like I'm just kind of talking to the air. And then other times, it'll be a nice cool breeze will blow by and I'll feel like she's there with me. And other times still, like the moon will feel particularly bright when it shouldn't. And I'll feel like she's around, and I don't know. I feel like when I look at LSAO, like I know that she's here because she brought him into my life. Brought them into my life.
Because I have like a bit of a feeling, and I feel like it could almost compare, but I'm not sure, because that's why I was wondering about like the sureness of it, and you've always been so sure in your prayer and your connection, and I feel like I have something there. I feel some sort of bond, but I'm not fully sure who, I guess, or where from, but I feel like it's there. And I mean, we know I've always been different, but it's like a late bloom as well, so.
Icarus, make a history check.
Okay.
That'll go so well.
Wait, I'm bad at these.
0, you got it.
Don't worry,
You
it's
got
not
it.
-1 anymore. I rolled a
Hey.
13.
13. Okay. So, I can't remember if we discussed this before, so I apologize if I'm repeating something. You would all in character understand that the like mechanically out of character, what we call classes,
Yeah.
exist. So people can have magical powers from different sources. People can have a connection to a deity for different reasons, and sometimes those reasons are tied to abilities and powers and that sort of thing. And sometimes it's just like plain worship, for like a faith purpose perspective.
Mhm.
So Icarus, you would understand that you are out of character mechanically, what we call a warlock.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're tapping into this, difference between a warlock and a cleric sort of discussion, and maybe a little conflict with yourself. Am I getting that right?
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't think I know. I think that's the point.
Okay. For that role, so that was all set up. For that role, we'll say that you have an understanding that warlocks tend to have not the greatest of reputations. It is quite often the case that someone who identifies as I made a deal to get my magic ability, like did so with malintent, and it shows in their life and in their actions.
So, I guess what I'm getting at is I have some sort of bond, and it feels the same but different at the same time. And I know it's there, but I'm not sure. Like, part of it's just me thinking, and part of it's like, I don't know. I don't know the words.
That's perfectly fine.
I feel like, from other people's perspective of it too, it feels not what it is, because I mean, we all know that my powers didn't come from the same way yours did, but part of the nature feels similar to yours, I guess is what I'm trying to say, I think. I tried praying the other day because it always seems to work for you, or like it be your best method of communication, and it kind of did, but I'm not sure if it's right. And I was just wondering if you navigated that in some way, or it just was right.
I'm not entirely certain what to say. I think it might not necessarily be praying that you have to do to nurture that relationship. You could sometimes throw out questions. You could just ask that being how they're doing, or just like, try to strike up a conversation with them and see if they respond that way.
Maybe I need
Because
to get
maybe-
married.
Ooh, I mean, that did work for me. So that could work, but I would really hope that you found someone that you would be willing to make a pact or bond with forever if that were the case.
Well-
I wouldn't want you to just be like, let's get married on a whim.
So
LSAO and I dated for like a while before we got married. I'm just saying you shouldn't rush into that if that's your next step.
You said the word pact or bond, and Icarus is
Yeah.
currently that math meme that's like trying to add things up. He's like, wait, I have a pact or bond.
I was like, did you just imply that now I'm your warlock? We're each other's patrons now?
Who
Are
even
you-
knows? Marriage is fickle.
Is that
Are you
kind of what
implying that I'm
marriage is
supposed
now?
to marry?
Your patron?
I mean, you could.
I think you are. You should go pray and propose right now.
I mean, Corndog used that word intentionally. Juno wasn't thinking when she used that word. So
Yes, good.
I, as a player, wanted to see your brain explode when I said pact. And then Juno was just like, well, I guess that's kind of we signed a contract that said we're together forever. We made a pact, we made an oath, we made this choice. We made a ceremony with a god present. I mean, I was hosting my own wedding when I chose to make that.
And then you see, as he's sitting cross-legged in his hands, where he's normally just playfully strumming his lyre, there's a large golden bow with several strings and curls, and he's just playing with that instead of his normal instrument. Okay.
Where
I don't know if that answers, but I'll work on it.
Where
I
did
think-
you get this, by the way?
So remember when I said I was praying,
Mm-hmm.
and I was holding my lyre, like I normally do, because I feel a tie to it. And then I told you that bond I felt. And then my lyre and my bow kind of, and it's both.
Well, whoever did that for you is obviously powerful. I guess.
Did you have a
treat
sign
that-
like this? Is this a sign?
No. I mean, maybe. This could be a sign. I'm just saying I didn't have a sign like that.
Okay.
I don't know. The gods are all really weird. There's also other powerful entities that we know that are in play. We just saw a freaking dragon the other day, so. I think there is more to all of this world than, I can ascertain. I feel like we could also talk to Mom. Mom would be helpful.
Icarus is also gonna reach over to grab your hand, and he's just gonna say, I also wanted to make sure you know that I'm not different than your brother, and know that. And he's stumbling on his words, and you see the tan skin and blonde hair kind of flicker, and you see underneath there's the same the twin babies that were born when we looked very similar to each other.
Juno will ungracefully just throw herself into a hug on top of him and just kind of smush him into the dirt.
Yeah.
I didn't want to fight.
This isn't a fight. I'm showing affection.
Oh, I'm not used to it. And then he'll hug her back.
This is why I don't hug.
Awesome.
That's precious.
And then I'll take my watch whenever she returns to her trance.
There
Okay.
is a storm coming. Just so you're aware. Well, it might not be coming. I actually know nothing about the weather.
Wait, aren't the dragons elemental? Could it be a chaos storm or dragon storm? No, that's crazy.
That sounds.
If you want, you can make a check.
Nope,
To see
it's
if you'd,
good.
like, know
No,
about it.
no, we're
Okay.
both just gonna be like, no, that's not what
That's
it is."
ridiculous.
That's so dumb.
Choice here.
How could we even think of that?
Sharknado. What?
Sharknado.
Uh-oh. Yeah, and
Please
like
no.
whenever the like sun is rising, Astral will take like the 2-hour watch whenever.
Okay. So Icarus, you can go ahead and make a perception check, please.
Also, whenever Aster's like just starting to get up, he'll be like right above her, like, are people waking up now? He's like, I've been waiting for people to be up for so long.
2 hours.
Just a little excitable. Natural 20, 25.
Woo! Yeah.
Look at these
Sorry.
elven eyes.
Are you doing that perception check?
Oh heck. Hold on.
I was
Just Icarus. Just Icarus.
Oh okay.
like- I rolled a natural
Wait,
20 for
Yeah,
25.
Nice.
Yeah, that was the excitement. That was the arms that went like
I was
this.
like, what do you mean? I
Oh,
did.
did it show up for you?
Sorry, I said it out loud because mine isn't rolling in
Oh,
the
got
app.
it. And I just completely missed it. Okay. All sorts of swing and miss going on here. The so
Hey DM, just an FYI, it's just not showing up in the Roll20. It's on the chat on the character sheet, so it's still showing up for me. I can still see everything, but it's
Oh,
just
okay.
showing
yeah.
up in the game log, not in the Roll20 for some reason.
interesting.
So I don't know
Okay.
if that's an overlay thing or what, but just FYI.
Yours did show up. Okay. I'm just gonna tack it up to probably the extension being funny and more than likely because of that
Slobs, am I right?
game tracking thing. So
I have
so
a question
25.
above the table, real quick.
Sure.
What the hell does slobs mean?
Streamlabs
Streamlabs.
OBS.
Labs
It's
OBS.
the software we use to stream with. Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
we
Thank you. I've been
everything.
here
Blame it.
for
It's
like a
always
year
Slob's
now of
fault.
people complaining about slobs, and I'm like, what the fuck is everyone saying?
Or at least the one that most of us used to stream. I know there are some people that use OBS, but most of us use Streamlabs OBS.
Open broadcast software, I think is what it stands for.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
We're
so
just
for
very
your
mad at messy people.
Yeah. All I know is we blame it whenever it goes wrong. So
yeah. So Icarus, with that 25, you stare at this storm for like the vast majority of your time because something about it is just rubbing you the wrong way. And after a couple hours, you'd notice
Thunderstruck.
like the same few key formations of clouds haven't moved the entire time you've been staring at it. And then after a couple more hours, you notice that like the flashes of lightning and the boom of thunder is more just like a slight rumble by the time it gets to you. The storm is super far away. However, the flashes of lightning and the booms of thunder are coming in a sort of almost cadence, like they're in a pattern.
So, the clouds look like they're not moving.
Mhm.
Are they above like a town or like above anything specific?
So
Like, or is
you're
it too
seeing
far away?
this. You're seeing this beyond an overgrowth of a small forest, immediately to your east. So it's really hard to tell, like
Okay.
what else is over there. But yeah, I have to leave the rest at what I've just said.
Okay. Musical thunder and lightning.
So like they're patching the security cam footage on a loop is what this makes me think of. Just the same like 15 minutes of
Just so you know, I'm gonna have no idea how to recap this to you guys, so you're just not gonna know what's happening unless it's still happening.
I do want to hear your attempt at recapping it though, just to see what
I mean,
Big
Aster
difference.
did go out there, so Aster may be able to help with recapping.
Well, Aster would not have noticed the same things that Icarus noticed because he
Okay.
was staring at this thing for a solid 3.5 to 4 hours, like the full
Okay.
time he was
Can-
there.
Can I try to recreate it like musically? Because you said it was like a cadence. Like, can I like redo the rhythms, or like,
Absolutely.
am I interpreting the word cadence correctly? It's like it's like a rhythm, right?
I mean, you're trying to it was a visual rhythm, yeah.
Oh. I don't know if I can do. Wait, can I minor illusion?
Maybe I should say pattern rather than rhythm. It was a visual pattern.
Like chopsticks? No, I'm kidding. We can move on. like the keys on the keyboard as they light up.
Yeah. Aster, you can make a perception check for your couple of hours.
There you are, perception. Yeah, I think this extension is.
Is it just not?
messing up.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
pull up. Well, I mean, there's no reason I shouldn't
Oh,
trust.
there it is.
There
16. There's the lag.
16. Okay. Yeah, the storm. You check it out too when you wake up because Icarus is just like almost in a trance, so to speak. Just staring at this thing with intense focus. And for the short time that you are able to look at it, you can also tell it's a really strong, highly concentrated storm. Far beyond this wooded area that is directly in front of you. And at the very least, it's extremely strong, if not unnatural.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it's moved.
Yeah. Aster would like to use Druid Craft real quick to create a tiny, harmless sensory effect that predicts what the weather will be at our location for 24 hours.
Okay.
Really
That's just
close.
a straight up, right? That's not a roll.
Nope,
The
it's a cantrip.
for the next 24 hours, you see. Oh, do you get like a visual, or do you just know?
It just says the effect might manifest as a golden orb for clear skies, a cloud for rain, falling snowflakes for snow, and so on.
Okay, so you're
Fact
actually like
persist for
casting a
for
sort of
one round.
visual,
So yeah,
right?
like kind of like I'm just really like Aster's really just like kind of focusing, like listening, occasionally just kind of looking up at the sky, looking for like really like any sign as she's casting this. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the yeah, we're gonna do that. The orb that you get is a comfortable bright orange with like the occasional little puff of smoke that you would understand to represent like a cloud or a cluster of clouds. And
Jackpot.
for like the course of like 20 to 30 seconds, that's all you get from it. Pretty much clear, comfortable, clear, comfortable skies. I realized I didn't finish that sentence.
The forecast.
I'm a
Very
fan.
strange.
I love sunshine.
Yeah, there's very strong storm over there, but this
But-
is telling me something a little different. That.
You know what my bet is? Dragon Storm.
I sincerely hope not. No more.
I don't even know if I'm joking or not at this point. Like says in character, like I don't know if my
Yeah.
ideas are crazy or right at this
Yeah,
point.
with what we've seen, I'm not really sure. I don't know what to tell you. I can't disprove that. So,
Does do we see the lightning like making contact, or is it just like in the sky? Like, does it go downward, or like?
You would have seen that it was like it wasn't just flashes; it was actual bolts of lightning.
Okay.
And they did mix between from the sky to the ground, or at least to what you could see as your horizon, and then sometimes
Yeah.
from down to up. But you do know that it is natural for that to happen both ways, actually. So that might not necessarily trigger any red flags for you.
Yeah, I was just trying to make sure it wasn't like a fake storm. Was my idea, which I guess I don't know if that actually does anything, but
Well, you make an Arcana check.
I'll wait for the adults to get up. But I will roll it just in case.
You're the second oldest person here.
Oh yeah, that's true. I'm like really old. Oh, it went through this time. 12.
Okay. You figure it's definitely possible that people can conjure different effects of weather, including storms.
cool. I want to learn how to do that. And
Sounds
that's
like you got a multi-class again.
that's my thoughts until people wake up.
4-way multi-class incoming. Holy crap.
Yes.
I'll be level 3 of everything. Tina
Yeah.
will never see it coming.
This conversation can absolutely continue. I don't mean to cut you guys off, but I will say by this point, everyone else has finished their long rest, and you're all sort of coming to. Unless Icarus and Aster, if there's anything else you wanted to do and or talk about before people start waking up.
No, I kind of just accidentally kept talking through the silence.
Okay. Okay, so everybody's up and at it now. You know that even with the horses and cart, you have several days of travel ahead of you. So is there anything you guys want to do before actually getting on the road at this point for your first day of travel?
I tell you what, just kind of like over the latter half, if this is possible, Aster wants to start taking up enchantment, because I don't think anyone else in the party has taken up enchantment. So
Okay.
I'll just be kind of like, during this time, she's probably been like getting like pieces of like those roper teeth to like fit into kind of like a little like necklace or something, and kind of her goal is to make it like more protective than it already is, if that's possible.
Okay. So the you're trying to make a necklace that protects. Is there like a certain? Do you maybe want to get a little more specific on the effect you're going for? Like active protection, like attacks something if it is hostile toward you, or do you mean like an aura of, to increase your AC or magical protection? What are we going for?
AC would be totally fine. If like somehow it goes super well, having like something akin to a perioptic wound closure would be kind of cool. Either one.
Perry, who what?
Oh, it's
We're using big words. Holy cow.
I'm sorry.
What is that?
magic
I've never
item.
heard that word before.
Yeah, it's a magic item. Yeah,
It's like a
perioptic.
necklace,
It's
an
like,
amulet.
It's a full necklace that
in
if someone goes
handbook.
like unconscious, they auto stabilize essentially.
Oh, okay. A don't die necklace.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Purple, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we can think about details like that over time. Because of course it will take time.
Because yeah, this
to
is very beginning stages.
attempt to
so,
craft such a thing. So yeah, and as I promised when we talked about this, because I sort of introduced, this is totally like mostly me mechanics that we're doing as downtime activities here. So I'm gonna say, what did I say? 15. If you guys decide to take something up, we'll say you start at 15, or was it 10?
I have no idea. Hold on, I'm looking at the sheet.
We're talking about skill points, chat. So Aster's working on enchantment at this point. Ulta's working on crafting, like physical crafting.
Yeah, tinkering.
Yeah, and then LSAO is working on spell crafting, and Icarus is working on song crafting, which is going to be very similar to spell crafting. Not to single you out, Juno, I just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything. Were you not actively working on anything like that at this point? Honest question, not a loaded question.
Yeah, she's been thinking about it, but she's kind of like watching everyone else tinker and is just kind of like, my God has just given me things. Like, I don't know how to like do stuff for myself.
It's like syndrome.
We could start a prayer group.
Yeah, prayer
thought
crafting.
In chat, you said you were gonna do swole crafting.
Yeah, swole crafting,
We can
body
do training,
crafting.
yeah.
That's what I want. I want to become stronger.
Okay.
But I think for her, like, some of her bigger priorities is like keeping the people around her safe. So, like, something to do related to like if it was improving people's armor, if it was improving people's weapons or something like that. So not like a well, I guess like those are two kind of very specific things, but like she wants to be able to keep her party safe even if she's not around them, even like if they're outside of her aura and stuff. And she knows like armor protects people, weapons can also protect people if you're wielding them correctly and don't roll poorly.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
like for her, those would be things that she would be interested in helping people, so that way they can still help themselves when they're not near her.
Got it. Okay. So I may need some time to think on that and like formulate that into like translate that into what can you do mechanically on a day-to-day basis. But we'll do a sort of catch up, much like this. So everybody that's starting for the first time at a craft, if I recall correctly, I believe I said you'll start at your 15 skill points plus whatever we've added to this point since you started. And at this point, it's really just tinkering around, because you know that you would need to take a significant amount of time and learn aspects or train aspects of what you're trying to do in order to eventually piece them together into an eventual final product. So, Aster, you're talking about a necklace that may have a certain type of effect at some point, even if you don't know exactly what that effect might be. You're exploring properties of magic, the physical components that go into being consumed to cast a spell, the verbal the incantations and the movements you have to make with your body and the things that you hold in order to finish casting a spell, and how can you impart magical properties into physical things. So that's sort of where you're at right now. So for how long are you going to spend on this before you guys get on the road? I guess that probably should be a group decision, or at least discussion on how much time you want to take before you start moving again.
Ulta would just need time to like be able to kind of scavenge around. She's looking for like wood and different like husks and things to kind of like wrap around to tie them together, and like just she's not doing anything that she couldn't do while also on the move. So she doesn't need a ton of time. But if you guys need time, she will definitely make use of whatever you guys decide.
Last episode we had talked about we could do some of it like in the cart because we got a wagon to go to, so we could do some of it there.
And that's why I ask how much do you want to do before, because it will require at least one person actively driving, for lack of a better word, and therefore won't really be able to focus on other efforts at the time.
If I can get a good workout in before we depart,
Okay.
I can be our group driver.
So do we want to say like a collective hour before traveling, so everybody can check off one skill point toward the craft that you're trying? Juno, for you, it's just going to be physical training.
Yep.
And Ulta, actually, we did say in the last session, by this point, you had gathered enough material to craft the particular item that you're trying to craft right now, as well as sort of laid out the plans for it. So you are at the point where you can actually start putting pieces together, fastening if it requires fastening, that sort of thing. You're actually starting to form the item you're trying to create.
Sweet.
So we'll do one dexterity check or strength check to see how much progress you can make toward it. And are you like trying to keep that under wraps, what you're trying to make, or are you okay just explaining?
So I would probably, party-wise, if people see me making it, I definitely wouldn't try to be secretive about it.
Okay.
But Ulta also isn't at a point where she's going to be talking about it. But if anyone's watching her, even without asking, you will be able to see that it is a kind of kickstanded, reinforced, like a barricade. That's the best way. Kind of like a shield that she can set up and hide behind. Yeah, it's like a tower shield. So
That's so cool.
Yeah, just for full cover when she's in combat.
That's so cool.
So that's what she's just like grabbing logs and like little bits and pieces and, just trying to reinforce it. But she definitely, if someone had questions or something, she wouldn't hide it, but she's not talking about it either. Just kind of quietly like doing the work and all of that stuff.
Awesome.
I got a 4 on my dex, so.
Do you have advantage from chat? I
Oh,
think
wait.
you do.
I have a
You
+2, so 6. Thanks,
We never did do
Paul.
that good table, by the way, too.
No, we didn't.
This sounds like a great time for a good table.
Yeah, it is a
We're
good time
so
for a good
bad
table.
at
Can we
this.
just use the good table to auto succeed on that? I don't know.
You know
Someone
what?
else was
I'm-
also given a re-roll at the start of chat. I think
That
it was
was me.
Esther.
Someone else in chat gave me another +2. Thanks,
Yeah.
Lena.
So it's an A.
I could give you a re-roll if we were allowed to give on our own streams. I could give you a bunch of re-rolls.
Yeah.
You know what I'm gonna say? If you guys for good tables, wait, am I
Feel
gonna
like-
throw this off by much if I say
I
for the
say
good
we
tables,
let
but
the
not
good
bad?
table happen.
Because-
Could there have been a chance that I was helping Ulta since I have nothing else to do besides like a good 30-minute workout?
Your workout was like log gathering.
Yeah, exactly.
It was
I-
Warhammer smashing things.
I will say that for the 1 hour that you guys are doing, it would have to be in exchange for that session of training.
Oh, sorry, Ulta.
No. Yeah. That's okay.
But I think in this case, because I mean the tables and stuff are usually geared more toward like intense and usually combat like situations, and there's just a whole lot of not that happening right now. So if you guys vote, I'm gonna say if you guys vote to use that good table to just have Ulta say fuck that 4 and make it an auto succeed, we can do that.
Totally.
Yes.
Oh, like we won't make this like a regular thing, but I think for this session, yeah, I think we
Give
should do it.
Ulta a
Yeah, I
tower
wouldn't
shield.
want that at all to be a regular thing. That would be weird.
Sure.
But for sure, I mean, hell yeah. Do
Could
I
make
still
a different
use?
donation for auto successes.
That would have to be big.
No, no.
That would have to be big at best. Anywho, that's up to Cole anyway.
Win button.
Okay, so Ulta, you have a successful. Right now, I'm gonna call it component created, but that's gonna add a level of complexity to this that I don't think is necessary. We'll just say 1 success on starting to put this thing together.
Okay.
And I'm realizing, so this, for everybody watching, this is a like hardcore 100% guinea pig group for my attempts at putting together like crafting of various forms. So, and we did establish from the time I introduced it to the group here that all I had was like the foundation and some of the framework so far, that we were going to have to fill in a lot of details as we go. So we do need to do some form of like what happens with success versus failure, and then like a sequence of successes is going to be necessary in order to complete a project, so to speak. So yeah, you are at a success to this point, as well as 1 more point toward the skill because you spent an hour using it. And then is anybody else doing anything specific other than Aster, yours was not an attempt at creating yet, just sort of studying the potential how-tos. Did I get that right?
Yeah, but I mean, if she could put like, yeah, the like magical energy towards doing it, she would be down, yeah, for that hour because she has the materials there. The rope or teeth are there to like just put on a string. It's just
Okay.
a matter of making it magical.
Okay, let's do an Arcana check then.
All right. Okay. Hopefully I won't have to use my reroll, but let's see. Ooh, that's a 13.
That'll be a success.
Okay.
So 1 success toward enchanting or creating this enchanted item.
All right.
And then Juno, you've got your 1 skill point toward physical training.
Toward fitness.
That fitness, getting swole.
Mm-hmm.
Eliseo and Icarus, were you doing anything or resting at this point?
I
You
have
go
an
first.
idea. I have my first idea for a spell. I don't know if you want to keep that in off game because it can be complicated, or I could pitch it now.
If you're not trying to hide it, then I would just say you can at least describe it.
I'm not trying to hide it. My idea is a healing over time spell. So it's a hymn of rejuvenation is my call. So it's like
Okay.
small healing, but like throughout like a
Throughout
few
several
rounds to a
rounds?
minute. Yeah.
Okay. I like that. That's a cool idea. Okay, so you are you're gonna start attempting to put such an idea down, and for you, it's going to be quite literally putting it down on paper.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you don't necessarily, you're not creating a spell scroll, so we're not. I don't want to say you're doing that, but you are creating your own sort of song here. So we're gonna start by starting to transcribe.
Okay.
You're putting words, rhythms, musical notes, whatever of those you choose down from your head onto paper in order to sort of start your project, I guess, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And you can make an Arcana check to see if you can successfully or start to successfully imbue this idea into a magical effect.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. That's a 16.
Nice. Okay, so you have a success as well as 1 skill point added. And then LSAO?
I have 2 spell ideas. One to do with shadow snatching and one to do with making an eclipse happen.
Okay.
Because I know my family. But yeah, I am a wizard, and so normally spells involve like lots of money.
Mm-hmm.
Is that gonna have to happen here too?
No. So
I'll give you my money.
The idea, and I apologize if this, and tell me if I'm taking too much time. I just like to explain things. Sometimes I tend to monologue a little too much, so just check me if I am. I believe the balance of the idea that you just get new spells when you choose to is balanced out by a little bit of time and a lot of money. So that it's not like, well, I'm a wizard, I have 6 new spells now, it's been a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think for crafting, it's just, I'm attempting to
actually
just
putting
shift
in the
that
time.
balance. Yeah, so a lot less on the
So-
financial side, but more on the time side, especially because you're creating your own. So with whichever you're choosing to start with, can you briefly describe for me like the type of effect that you're eventually going to go for in a final product?
Yes. I'm gonna do Shadow Yoink first because it was my first idea, and
Okay.
Eclipse sounds like a higher level spell. So, Shadow Yoink is what chat has started calling it already. I think part of me really wanted to make it a life drain, but then that really mirrors Anders' spell a lot, or Icarus's spell a lot. Like life drain over time, like stealing their shadow just saps their strength, or like something like that.
I think that's a really cool yin and yang thing.
Yeah, I don't
Kinda
have a
is.
sap at all.
I wouldn't.
That's cool.
I wouldn't say no to that.
I really like the idea then that we're like sitting adjacent to each other, like working on our own
Doing
things, and one of us
opposite
like
things.
looks over and it's like, "Are you doing healing over time? Are you doing damage over time?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, cool, sweet."
I was working on it first,
Hey,
and
I
then it
had
becomes.
this idea 2 sessions ago.
Okay, so you can make an Arcana check for this
Okay.
hour.
Okay.
I bet your Arcana is better than mine.
Yeah, I have +7.
Oh man.
I had a +0.
I'm a wizard. So 17.
Okay, so you have a success as well as 1 additional skill point
Cool.
for working on it for an hour. And I
Okay.
believe we've covered everybody for the hour before you start traveling, correct?
Yeah.
Or raise your hand if I didn't get to you or didn't get to you enough. And I apologize in advance if I didn't. Okay, perfect. I think that is the ideal opportunity for us to take a brief break. So ideally about 5 minutes, if that's cool with you guys.
Sure.
All right, we will be right back. Okay, so admittedly, what we just finished was a little bit cumbersome because we're establishing the beginning of the like interwoven details of some custom mechanics for crafting. So that covered essentially the hour in game before you guys are off and actively traveling on your 4th day out of 6. So at this point, we will need to establish who's going to be essentially guiding the cart, driving the horses, if you will, and for how long. Like, do you guys want to take shifts? We'll say they have to be at least an hour at a time, and therefore we can easily break up if other people are working on things in the cart at the time. That can be in our typical 1-hour increments. So who's going to at least start with driving the cart?
I can start so that way people can like figure out where they're gonna sit and how they're gonna craft and stuff like that, so they
Okay.
can have, you
Getting
know,
the
kind of
road
that
trip
like
seats
try
set
to
up,
figure
yeah.
out how to get comfy in your spot. Yeah, road trip seats.
I'm gonna plop up right next to you because I don't know how to drive.
Okay. Are you going to try to learn how to drive, or are you going to keep working on your song?
Oh no, I'm gonna completely annoy her. Oh, Juno, do you want to know the best part about this new bow?
Sure.
Look, I don't even need to use the arrows. They're for show. And I just pull it back, and like a glowing arrow appears as I pull back the string. I'll never run out again.
That is very handy.
It is actually extremely handy.
I thought the best part of the bow was going to be that you can play songs on it, and you were only going to play Hot Cross Buns for like 6 hours of this road trip.
Oh,
Corn Dog,
I
are
am-
you going to be driving the cart for the entire day, or are you looking to take shifts?
Until my butt gets sore, then I'll swap out with someone once
Yeah,
that
I
starts to get
can-
like uncomfy.
I can drive if you want to like take time to do your own workouts and stuff.
Yeah, I'm just gonna fiddle with my armor, I guess, and my weapon to
You can-
learn more about them.
Okay.
You can just be like walking next to the cart, just like doing your lunges.
Yeah, getting some
As
good
we're
stretches in
jogging.
there.
it's like a treadmill, but you're trying to run behind the cart to keep up with it.
My God.
You're like holding
Okay.
on and running.
So let's.
We're just like, how many workouts can we design around a wagon?
So for the sake of efficiency of time here, it sounds like you're going to split it 50-50, Juno and Elseo. So 4 hours each, which means up to 8 hours for the rest of you to be working on your craft. Or if you're going to do anything else, then that'll be time instead. So I'll say for each hour that you are spending on your craft, you have a choice of automatically taking 2 skill points or taking 1 skill point and a roll for a success or failure in creating the item or spell or song that you're currently working on. The DC for the roll I've already given you is now 12 instead of 10, which was its original. It's 12 because you're in a moving cart and there's some bumps in the road.
Very fair.
So it's a little bit more difficult to, the weaving and creating and writing and all that jazz. So with all those conditions, I'll trust you guys to make all of your rolls, and if you are making rolls at all. So again, it's either 2 automatic points toward the skill, or 1 point toward the skill and 1 roll for success or failure for each hour that you are working on your craft.
Would
I went
my-
for the roll and definitely bombed it. So
Is that
I got-
another one? Oh no!
yeah.
Exactly a 12.
is
12 succeeds. It is
Hell yeah.
meter beat. Yeah,
Is it still Arcana?
it is the same check I gave you before. Yes.
I don't want to, but I'm gonna do it.
So if I'm doing 4 hours, I make 1 check or
1 for each hour.
4. So I make 4 checks.
And well, that's if you want to
If I
try
want
a
to.
success or failure 4 times. You could do 8 points automatically and not
I-
make any rolls, or you
I
can do
have
like.
an Arcana +7. I'll take those chances.
Oh yeah, there you. Yeah.
Look. I'm good at what I do. Okay, I don't do anything unless I'm good at it. Apparently. Yeah, 15. 12. 17. And ooh, my last one, I didn't win the gamble.
Oof.
It's okay. My first one, I didn't win the game.
But I won 3 of them, so.
Okay. Now I'm also going to fast forward a little more because we're going to go through 3 days.
Woo! Math.
Spoiler alert for chat. I do not personally enjoy the concept of random encounters for the sake of random encounters. So we are not doing random encounters, at least yet, and in this campaign. So you have 2 more days ahead of you guys. Oh, bad
Mr.
table.
I got a
for
bad
losing the
table because I
gamble.
lost the gamble.
Mr. Rogers.
We will quickly go through if there's any evening activities and any evening observations for watches, and then another day of who's driving, who's skill checking, blah blah blah.
Does
2
that
more
mean
times.
the bad table's on me specifically?
The bad table is for. So what I
I mean,
usually
I'll
do
take
is
it.
roll a d5 in
I'll
roll
take
20
it,
because.
I lost the gamble.
Okay, so you can have it then.
I guess.
You have to roll a d100 for whatever table you ended up pulling up for,
Okay.
or whoever pulled out the bad table. Yeah.
Yes.
For the red dice.
I just want to throw out there, I have a +0, and I only got 1 less than you did.
48.
48.
4 and 8. Nope, 8.
Okay, I'm sending this to Magic, and he can decide accordingly.
Oh no.
A flaming meteor lands on your cart and destroys it.
Roll new
do I grow
character.
a mouth? Do I grow a mouth?
I think we've had this one before.
Oh no, do I grow a mouth?
I think I rolled it before too, which is the funny part.
No!
Oh, okay. And who was the person who gets this?
I volunteered.
You volunteered. Okay.
I did.
So for the 4 hours that you were attempting to work on your spell, everything on you and around you just floats away. So
Okay.
your skill checks, I'm gonna translate this into, we're gonna redo your skill checks, and the DC is now going to be a 17 instead of a 12. Because you just
Okay.
have a hard time hanging on to everything and keeping it down so you can write and think and all that jazz.
Then the first one is a no. I just have to roll above 10, apparently. So, nope. I need a new dice now because that one kept showing me 2.
Dice jail for that one.
Dice jail for that
I have one of those. Dice jails are fun.
Oh my goodness, I found my itty bitty dice.
All right. Anything else for the rest of you for another?
Enjoy this picture of my ice cream, everyone.
Oh
You
wait,
said there
that's
were
not
4 in
another.
the first day, right?
There were 4 in the first day. If you only 4 for Corndog and Niffer because they traded shifts in driving. I believe unless you were doing anything else.
I
You
was
get the
just
full 8
song
hours.
crafting.
Right. So you get the full 8.
Oh, cool. I'll roll
Yeah.
4 more times.
If you want, or you can take skill points.
Yes, you can take the guaranteed 2 skill points per hour, or you can take a skill point and a roll for success or failure per hour.
How many successes do we need? Do we know?
A lot.
Yeah, I'll just keep rolling.
Yeah, why not?
The number of successes you're going to need is going to depend on effectively what I'm going to call the level of, for you, the spell you're trying to craft with your song. Spoiler alert, it's kind of high because you're doing essentially multiple heal spells in one because healing over time. So it's going to be difficult and it's going to take a lot of time.
So I rolled 3 successes for the 8 rolls.
Okay.
And then the auto points are
8.
Okay, 8
Yep.
points. Cool.
So for mine, I rolled 2 2s, and then I switched my dice, and then I rolled a 22, and then a nat 20.
Nice. So a nat 20 is going to be a double success.
So 3 total successes.
Yes.
With a bad table, you still tied me.
Nice.
Look, dice probability, okay?
Hi, Snickers.
Hi, Snickers!
Oh, she's so sleepy.
So we have to track our own successes, right?
Yes. Yes, please. And I will check in with you guys on success versus failure and skill point totals off stream.
Good deal.
We are already using a lot of time on stream to do that.
It's true.
And hopefully that's
get better.
okay because we're sort of explaining things as we go. And frankly, I consider it part of the RP. And we're getting away from the everything's on fire, everything is bad for a couple sessions.
This is fine.
So we're going to get to the first evening and we can establish watches and if anything's doing anything out of the usual for like evening ritual, taking long rests, that sort of thing. Crafting RP, exactly. Okay, I hear no objections, so is that gonna between
What's the weather looking
Juno-
like currently?
okay, yeah, so Juno and Icarus. The weather right now is clear, partly cloudy.
Okay.
I'm not a meteorologist, so I don't have very good descriptions for that.
Yep, that works. Well, it's just for Juno, if she were to cast the hut at the start of the watch, she would not be able to complete the watch because she has to stay inside of it. Whereas if she casts it 4 hours in, then she can sit inside of it.
Got it. Yeah, the I can give. Let's say this: you were all very focused on your collective crafts, arts and crafts for the day, but for the 4 hours that you were driving, Juno and LSAU, you can each make a perception check.
Do. Bleep. Yay! It's my best thing, and I rolled poorly.
Mine, I'm rolling my itty bitty baby dice now, and it is so lightweight that I inadvertently chucked it across my desk, but
Yeet.
Yeet.
it landed on a nat 20.
Okay.
So that's 21.
Juno, you would definitely notice that there's still a storm way over yonder.
My brother's talking to me the whole time, so I just don't know what's going on.
Check out my arrow. That isn't really an arrow. It's magic. Poof.
Pew pew.
LSAO, you'd be able to like you're checking it out, and every few minutes you're able to stare at it for like at least a few seconds at a time. The road ahead of you isn't all that intense. It's not all that difficult. It's really more about just keeping the horses true rather than actually navigating difficult terrain. You would notice with
Helping probably.
yeah, you would notice with conclusion, the storm has not moved.
Oof.
Um,
Also, I'm like trying to teach Puff to drive so that my hands can be free. It's not going well because Puff is like
Puff is an
is
owl.
Puff's an owl.
Like takes
It's
one
fine.
rein in a talon and then has to put it down to hobble over and take the other one in the other talon.
Yep.
All right.
It's great. It's going well.
So we're at evening
Cool.
and interrupt me. I'm gonna try to fast forward a little bit because doing the add your points up and roll everything is gonna take enough time. But interrupt me if you want to try to do or talk about or anything else. We're gonna go into the same watches. So Icarus, you can make the first perception check while everybody else is going into their rest for the evening.
Okay. There's so many things that start with P. Okay, there we go. Dirty 20.
Nice. At the tail end of your watch, you would actually catch a couple crashes of thunder. You know they are crashes of thunder, but they don't come across that way. They're still the very low, distant rumbles. but they're starting to break the cadence that you noticed last night. They're becoming a little bit more erratic, a little bit more irregular. Juno, you can make your perception check for the second half.
And I'll just give her that note before I go to my trance.
Okay.
Dirty 20 as well.
Nice.
Twin powers.
You also notice that from what Icarus had described as the storm staying in one place and sort of having a regularity to it, you're noticing even now over the course of only a few hours, it becomes increasingly irregular, although it still doesn't move.
That's
Does that make sense?
probably not good.
Okay. Day
Worst
2.
part.
Day 2. Is there any change in who's driving and how much?
I mean, Astra was fine with taking some drive time if people want to spend more time on their crafts.
Same with Ulta.
Because a bunch of people,
Okay.
drove yesterday just to even it out.
I
So
don't know
Astra-
how to drive.
So Astra and Ulta will have you got 4 hours of checks or points toward your crafts, and the rest of you have 8 or up to 8 unless there's anything else you want to do.
8 points towards thickness, please.
And I want to be crystal clear, please don't let me just bulldoze you guys. If there is anything else you want to be doing or talking about, just let me know.
What's the DC that we have to do for those checks? Is it still 12?
It's 12, yeah.
Cool.
Still on the move.
I'm just gonna spend one of my 8 hours praying / meditating and being like, is this the right way to do this? How do you like this? I know we have a little bit different of a bond connection than normal.
Yeah.
You know, my sister said something. Is this like that kind of connect?
Yes.
Just talk to me, you know? And that's kind of it. It's just kind of like casual, sporadic. Just
Try
Are you
proposing.
doing this out loud?
maybe like mumbling, so you'd have to like listen to catch it, or like be right next to me. But
At some point, Juno will
Like,
give you
under my
just a
breath.
nice pat on the back and just cast guidance. Like, not really sure if it'll help or anything, but she's like, he's doing his best. Like,
Okay. Icarus, for that hour, make a charisma check. On a
Okay.
nat 20, something will happen.
oh,
also D4. I don't know if that helps, but that lasts for a minute.
Okay. So,
Because it's added to ability checks of your choice.
what is your modifier for charisma?
+4.
On a 25 or higher with that D4. So slightly better odds
Okay.
because you've got the guidance. Yeah.
So let me. Did that even roll? Okay, so that rolled. Doesn't look like it's gonna make it,
Okay.
but I do still add my D4, which can't technically make it, but we're gonna pretend.
Yeah. We're going to give it everything we've got. Go with gusto.
It's a 20.
Okay, so dirty 20, you got kind of close. I'll give you a little nugget.
It's not performance, is it?
It's not performance. It is just a charisma check.
Are you sure praying's not performance?
It is for
Wait.
some people.
Wait a minute. Woo! All right, hot water, hot water. The okay, so for this hour that you're genuinely trying to like establish an active connection with Corlon, you get this you feel like you establish a connection, although it's not like it's not like, hey man, it's God, what's up? But it is along the lines of like a subliminal message. But you're able to tell it's not even quite that. I just don't have a better phrase for it off the top of my head. It's more like an insight into a feeling, and that feeling sort of manifests into a visualization for you of you sitting next to another elf. And just kind of non-verbally connecting with that elf. And you do get a sense of good fortune, like a really positive feeling about yourself, and this sort of doubt or series of doubts that you've been having about yourself eases up, even if just for this 1 hour.
I would like you to know that everything I wrote down about that in my notes had a question mark. Like each word, question mark after each word.
Yep. Okay. Anything else for this day?
I'm just gonna roll some die.
How is Puff doing at driving? No.
Hard struggle.
Okay.
Aster and Ulta are taking turns driving on this day.
Whoa!
I've like
Couple
set
nat
up a little
20s in there.
belt so that Puff can practice driving.
Well, I got
himself.
2 nat 20s?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh.
Nice work.
Yeah, you just had to switch back to
1, 2, 3,
Arcana.
4. Okay, so I've got 3 more. 5, 6, 7.
It's just so many dice rolling.
Yeah, I know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 1 didn't go through, so 1 more.
I ended up like counting on my fingers back here.
Okay, so 14 passes. Most of them don't pass, but 2 natural 20s.
So 5 successes.
5 successes. So 5, yes.
I lost track of how many dice I rolled. Like
Uh-oh.
3 times, so I had to start over. But I think that I got either 6 or 7 successes, so I'm just gonna say 6 and call it good.
All right, so it sounds like there's a mix of progress happening here. So Ulta's got the sort of makings of a slab, several pieces of wood that have been shaved and fashioned together at this point, maybe with a couple, I guess for lack of a better phrase, pieces of hardware to sort of help stabilize in the act of planting into the ground, that sort of thing. Aster's got a necklace of teeth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Roper teeth.
yeah, at this point you've got like some teeth connected and they're pulsing. For those of you who are magically inclined, they're starting to pulse with like the fabric and weavings of magical energy, but they feel like they sort of flit in and out. So it's not done, it's in progress, but it's well on its way. Eliseo and Icarus have their papers. They're sort of flipping back and forth. I don't know if you guys are how organized or not organized you are with your papers, but I'll say there's like several involved for both of you at this point, with notes and words and phrases and components that you've been sort of like tinkering in your hands with, and some chantings and incantations you've been putting into these pieces of paper that you understand to be your spells or songs that you're in progress with. And Juno's sweating,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, misty
She
indeed.
takes some time to like run alongside the cart, and then hops back in the cart and does a bunch of push-ups.
Yeah,
That sort of, yeah, awesome.
You know what we
Rocky
have an
montage.
extra
she's just
cushion,
doing
so
like
I'm okay with
casual
that.
dips off the side of the car
There you
as
go.
they're like scrolling down the street.
Yeah.
Triceps look jacked as hell.
All right. Next evening, same watches.
Yeah.
All right.
Dad,
I'll go
I want
first
it-
this time.
I want to take a watch with my wife.
Okay.
I don't really have anything to talk about. I just want to spend some quality time, okay?
Okay. Perception check for both of you then for the first
Wait.
part of the watch.
I like to imagine like if Juno's sitting down, like my head's in her lap as Eliseo's like trying to have their wife time. I'm like right there asleep.
Yeah, I was like casually stroking your hair as you just like fell asleep in my lap, leaned into my spouse.
All right. The Eliseo, what was yours?
My wife has managed to get 4 times my perception,
Oof.
as I rolled a 6.
I would imagine you just sort of like staring at her, like,
Yeah, a little bit. I kind of stayed up just because I wanted to like hang out with her, not really like look for things. So
Okay.
Meanwhile, me and my creepy eyes are just scanning the horizon.
You toward the middle of your watch, the storm definitively and quickly shifts north, almost collapsing on itself. Like you can see that there's a like a focal point that the whole thing is shifting toward in the sky, and it's moving north. It's not quick. It happens over some time, but you're like staring at this thing for 4 hours, and you definitely notice it happening at some point. It's like it starts shifting toward this point, and the point shifts north.
Okay, so it was like over here if we're back on the map.
Yes.
And now it's like shifting this way.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I don't like it. I'll like jab LSA and be like, it's moving now.
what?
The storm.
Oh,
It's I don't know if we
Oh.
should wake anyone up and tell them about this. Maybe
do you want? I can send Puff.
you could send Puff, but
Just scout the area, see if there's anything like happening on the ground or something.
and then report back to us.
Yeah. It's way more than 100 feet, so it would take some time, and Puff would have to fly all the way there and all the way back. But like, it's nighttime. We got time. We'll hear back in the morning, maybe.
I'm also inclined to wake Aster up. I know druids are a little bit more tied to the land
touch with
and
nature, yeah.
nature and stuff, and I am definitely not.
Yeah, I like nature and the fact that it makes trees, which makes my books. But like, otherwise, I'm not good at that. Yeah, let's wake Aster.
Yeah, Juno will just
Okay.
like reach back and just gently shake Aster's leg.
Okay, we'll say Aster, you do still achieve a long rest. So we
Okay.
don't have to worry about
Yeah, we'll just do like the 2-hour watch thing. or
that
whatever the heck,
that's not an issue. So
yeah, it's like that 2-hour time frame where
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sounds
yeah.
good.
Okay,
I am
so
Likes to wake
gonna
up with
send
the sun.
Puff out, by the way, doing the plan as
Okay.
well, just in case.
and what is the so we'll come back to Juno and Aster in a second. What is the plan for Puff relative to you taking a rest?
I'm gonna go take a nap, and he's going to fly out of my range, check it out, and like look at everything, and then in the morning we can kind of telepathically rehash what he saw.
Okay, we'll let that happen while
Yeah.
Juno and Aster. Well, Juno, are you going into trance? Like you wake Aster up and say, "Hey, check this out while I rest," or are you staying up and
I
checking
think
things out?
Juno would stay up to have like a conversation with Aster regarding what it is.
Okay.
And then eventually
Yeah.
kind of like flick her brother in the ear to wake him up.
Okay.
We've got long, pointy ears.
Giant elf ears, yeah. Okay. So Icarus, you are now on watch. You can make a perception check. Aster, what are you thinking about in response to what you've been told?
I think, yeah, first of all, she would snap on Druidcraft again, just to see if there's any different of a read at all for that weather effect thing, to see if, yeah, like there's anything else possibly going on. But other than that, like, yeah, just like looking at it, like, does something like still feel weird? Or, like, I don't know. Can I vibe check a storm? Like, I don't know.
You can.
check
So
the
it would be a
storm.
nature check, yeah.
I check
Okay.
the storm.
Oh no, a nature check. I'm not that great at those. That's intelligence.
But you're a
right?
druid. We have faith in you.
I have a +5 instead of a +8, but that's not horrible. I
Plus
guess.
5 is so good.
Yeah, that's an 8.
Oof.
I rolled a 3.
I'm sorry for speaking.
Oh man. Okay, so when you cast Druidcraft again, you get the exact same image. And even with an 8, like in character, you're having a serious intellectual conflict between what your spell is telling you and what you're seeing on the horizon. You know that Druidcraft would tell you like what's happening in your area for the next 24 hours. So it's difficult to tell if like the storm is just far enough away that even if it moves, it doesn't affect your area, or like is something else going on. It's really hard to tell the difference. But even with your nature check, you're having a difficult time. You can tell that like storms don't last that long in one spot and then just like boom. Something's off about it.
Yeah, something is unnatural about it. I don't know if it's just the storm itself being unnatural or something is containing it maybe. Or perpetuating it. Something's not right.
How far off of travel is it from us? Like, is it a day's travel away, or would it be a couple of hours travel away?
It would be pretty much impossible for you guys to tell because none of you knows exactly how deep this wood is. And you know that the horizon of the treetops is definitely cutting off your vision of the horizon beyond it. So it's pretty much impossible to tell like how far the storm itself even goes, let alone where it starts where like the middle or the eye of it would be because of this horizon in front of you.
Okay, thanks. I feel like the only options are either we travel towards it or we keep on the path that we're on.
Maybe we keep on the path that we're on and hope that we can tell someone stronger than us or someone with more know-how. I worry that if we just run into something and we have no idea what's going on, we're just setting ourselves up for failure.
And if it's going north, it's technically going parallel to us, is it not?
At this
If
point,
we're
yes,
going
it
to
is.
Elturel, yeah, it would be going parallel. So we're kind of doing both, technically.
Was the blue dragon that we saw, did it deal lightning damage
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
when it
It blasted
crazy on our
lightning.
town?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it blasted lightning out of its mouth when it swooped in on the castle several times, or the keep.
Maybe that's where the dragon from the keep is. Just kind of nesting and waiting and regrouping with folks and then...
Maybe.
But we should
Yeah,
probably
I
get
don't like
to
it.
town as fast as we can to let someone know to... Elturel. Maybe they can get word to... I don't know, anyone else? Someone who knows about storms that move as oddly as that one does?
I'm gonna be like, I have an idea, and I'm gonna pray on it right now. I'm not really expecting much, but I'm just gonna do it.
Okay.
Could Juno like be inspired by her brother and also pray on it?
Can we like clasp hands
let
and
my
pray
brother-
together?
Oh yeah.
Maybe it'll be like twice as effective.
Yeah, that's how it goes. By the power of prayer.
Hey, I'm the DM and I like creativity, so it could be.
Yeah, like hands crossed.
So you're trying to achieve some sort of divine intervention communication together? Is that what I'm
Yeah.
gathering?
Sure.
Sure.
I don't normally ask questions or expect direct answers. So like maybe if we like, both try together, we'll be like, ooh, like super like, confrontation. Nope. But let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. And while we do it, I will also cast my Twilight Sanctuary over us It's not really anything to do with this. I just like the flavor of it right now.
Okay.
And
Is it
I'm
like-
gonna cast light, and it's gonna be like this light in the center of the sanctuary, like shining through it. Like, yeah,
Yeah, it'll be aesthetically pleasing.
yeah.
Okay. What's the effect of sanctuary for you?
You present your holy symbol, a sphere of twilight. Let me see if I can blop this in chat. Will you please blop in chat? Did that do it?
There it is.
Oh, there we go.
Hey. It grants us hit points and just prevents us from being charmed and frightened. But basically, I'm just trying to give us like a quiet, safe space to
Okay.
attempt this.
Neat.
If
Okay.
if I hear anyone else talk outside of it, I'm gonna be like, shh, we're praying.
And Juno will be full trans.
Okay, so make an insight check, both of you, and I will take the better result of the two. So you're making a team advantage charisma
Ooh,
check.
I get advantage on this anyways.
There you go.
Oh my god. I hate this.
For chat, Icarus got an 18, and with advantage, Juno got a 10.
Yeah.
I'm really good
One,
at this.
I have +3. She has +7.
Rip
Yep.
in pieces.
That is a 3 and a 1 from me today.
Okay. So for an 18, you would get a general sense of being uneasy and some sort of focus on that storm, but it is super unclear. As if events need to unfold in order to gain more knowledge about what's going on there.
I'm gonna like, as soon as I get that feeling, I'm gonna look at Juno. I'm gonna be like, did you feel that?
You would have both gotten that because I made that a combined effort.
Shit, I was gonna make fun of her. I was gonna be like, oh, maybe my god's better.
You got a nice warm breeze. I got a nice cool breeze.
No, you
That
both
both,
got
like-
the exact same sense of it.
Yep.
Well, yes, I think we should go to the city and mention it. At least this feels like something we can't figure out right now, right?
I'd agree with that.
Still wasn't a direct answer, but like we got the same feeling. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
I'm figuring this out. Like I'm not like, I'm sorry.
Okay, so final day of travel. At this point, even maybe just an hour or two into the day. Well, before I get to that, who's driving? We need at least 2 people.
I can drive again.
Okay.
Should I try and learn?
That can
I will-
only end well. I really think you should.
I will attempt to teach my brother how to drive.
Okay, so for the first 4 hours, Icarus, you are learning how to drive, so no skill checks are
Okay.
toward the craft. The rest of you have up to 8 hours, split in the exact same way that we've established. For that first 4 hours, while you guys are making those rolls and tallying up all that stuff, you would all be able to see an orb in the sky above the eventual city that you can see on the horizon. Actually, all of you make a quick history check, please.
History check.
Oh,
I'm good
this'll
at
go
those.
well.
Ooh! Aster,
Wow.
too much time in the
I
woods.
give up.
Wow.
That's,
Oh my god.
oh
I haven't
my
rolled
gosh,
anything
you guys.
over 10.
That's 2 natural ones.
I'm real glad we have not been in combat this game.
How do we keep
Yep.
yin and yanging this? I rolled a natural
Y'all.
20 when you rolled a natural 1.
I'm
You're twins.
garbage.
I
So-
got a 19.
19. Icarus and LSAO, you've heard of the Holy City of Elturel, which is famous for a magical presence high in the sky above it that naturally illuminates it at all times. But it's also a barrier against evil. For the rest of you, there's a shiny light above the city.
Oh, that's neat.
That's,
you
that's
guys-
that tracks. That tracks for
You guys don't know about this very holy city? Wow, as a holy person, I figured you would have. Okay.
Yep. So we can.
I
I'll
know-
look
I
at
know
my
things.
brother and
Hey,
be,
she's got other priorities, okay?
yeah.
You guys can roll through the rest of those the respective skill checks and or points that you're counting toward your craft at this point. when we get to I believe it was 50. Let me double check that to make sure, but I believe it's once you start getting toward 50 for your total skill points, things start to change about what happens. Also, when we get to 20 total successes or 10 total failures, other things start to happen.
Oh, we have to track failures too.
Yes.
My bad.
Oh.
Sorry, I did not do a good enough job of explaining that. So if you didn't track the failures, that's an L. That's on me.
Thank you.
Cool.
I'm just
Awesome.
gonna give myself at least 2 failures because that's had to have happened.
Okay. I appreciate the honesty.
Look,
I can go back
mean,
and count, but I might be losing already.
I am at 3.
failures are funny. Why not?
I also, like, as we look at the light in the sky, I'm gonna say, are the storm clouds moving towards this? Because if this is considered like a light and eye, what if the storm is to cloud it? Just throwing things around, you know. Yeah.
Sorry, I was writing notes and counting to 8. What?
I have to ask, was that a question for me or was that just like a point of discussion for the group?
I
That was a
did
point of
not
discussion
hear
for the
what
group.
Okay.
It
was
was,
saying.
you know, we were talking about how Elturel has that illuminating light magic orb in the sky that's kind of like an eye. And I was like, is the clouds for that? Are they moving towards that? Is it like trying to cloud this light or eye, or, you know?
Yeah, did like the clouds shift? Because like they went north,
Are they pulling a Mordor right now?
but
You-
are
Is that what
they?
this is?
You can make another perception check for the time you are driving.
Also, has my owl come back yet?
Yes, thank you. I completely forgot about that. We're gonna.
It's okay. I
cover
also
that.
forget about him. His name is Schrodinger, remember?
So LSAO, make a perception check for Puff, please. Juno will get to the result of your perception check after we do Puff.
Thank you. I'm back.
There you go. I gotta figure out a good way to get rolls to show up on this overlay. That is on me. That's not on Proper, who
No,
did
this
an
is
amazing job designing this
hey,
overlay.
shout out to Proper.
We didn't
Might I say-
originally account for rolls showing up, but I kind of want them to now. So I'm gonna see if there's a decent way that they can.
I rolled a 6. I don't know what his modifier is. Let me check, but it can't be that good. Wait,
Pretty
that's
sure
a 9.
perception. Yeah. Okay. So with a 9, you would have gotten the vibe that so the storm was centered around the peaks of the mountain range.
So perception plus 3 is a total of 12.
Okay. Yep. You would have gotten a visual that the storm was sort of centered around the peaks of the mountain range, and as it moved, it stayed along. Like if you imagine the tallest peaks of the mountain range going from south to north,
Yep.
forming lines, like just lines between the tallest points.
Right.
The eye of the storm followed that path.
Okay, so not going to Elturel.
Right. Juno, with your perception, you would have noticed through sort of looking over your shoulder a couple times, traveling the final western leg of this journey, that the storm's movement did continue north even after you turned.
Okay, so it's up in like these higher mountains that are up here
Yep.
now.
And it
Okay.
became more focused on a smaller area as you went, or as it
Okay.
went. It was not relative to you. That is not something you glean from what happened. As the storm moved, it got smaller.
More compact.
Yeah.
But still kind of crazy and erratic like we saw the night before.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Does anybody else have anything else leading up to arriving at the city of Elturel?
when Puff was kind of flying to look around, did he notice like people in the area, like the people like causing the storm, were directly in that area, or like any evidence of like, oh, this is, signs of the storm being tampered with or something?
People know, but animals and particularly birds scattering, yes.
Okay, which is not good, I think.
Actually 12, right?
Yes, 12.
At one particular point, he definitely heard a long droning tone that was distinctly different from a crash of thunder.
Cool. I'll share that.
And
I
what's your
just
dragon sound like?
Do they sound like a long droning tone?
Hard
think
for
they
you to
do.
tell.
Don't think they
From
do.
what you gleaned from Puff, it would be hard to tell if it was particularly a dragon or
know.
not.
Were you not listening when the dragon came and
Yeah,
belched
really.
at us? It sounded like this, and Juno will scream and attempt to sound like a dragon.
Nice.
That's what the dragon sounded like. I'm not gonna do that because like we have headsets on and the mic is right here, and we don't need that in this world.
Oh, my bad. That's a good point, sister. Good dragon.
Thank you.
Okay, has everybody finished marking and rolling their skills and checks
Yeah.
toward their
I'm
crafting?
working on it right now.
Yep.
I'm almost
Okay.
done.
We at 44 points right now.
Nice.
I'm at 44 points. I'll let you know how many successes I'm at soon.
Okay.
I'm at 12 successes, and my skill points are to be tallied because they're in my other notebook.
Okay, no worries. Maybe, Icarus, we should do that during the break we're about to take now, because when we come back, we're going to be entering the city of Elturel right at dusk. And then
My favorite
obviously,
time of day.
we're going to be not in just full-on travel mode anymore. The map is in the right place. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, maybe closer to 10 minutes this time, just to make sure all of us are on the same page with where we're at and what's happening next. So we'll be right back.
You
All
know
right.
how you can only actually know something when you can explain it to somebody else.
There you
So,
go.
Like it's like part of explaining.
Also,
Okay.
Did we go live?
We're back.
Yeah.
I'm getting a knack for that. Just like, ooh, do it now.
That beautiful corner.
okay.
Very, very good.
So, Juno, you just said something that I did ask that you repeat. So we're going to go into the final day. We'll say it is the final day. We can say it's happened over the course of several days, but we'll just count it toward this last day of going into Elturel. You wanted to have a little bit more interaction with people as we're doing that. So go ahead.
So after Juno has taken her shift, she'll just kind of literally like turn and face the cart and just kind of like look down at what folks are crafting around her, because she really, like, when she's driving, she's not paying attention to that because she's such an avid good driver. But at one point she'll just like look down and just see what they've been working on and just, Ulta, what are you making? I feel like with crafting it's easier to ask that.
Yeah, so you
Very
would
clear.
probably see in front of you a very probably mud covered and very confused little kobold. Like she's like really trying to figure this out on her own. And she will kind of like hold up made out of bits of like timber and husks and all sorts of different things with like mud in between, attempting to like keep everything solid and together, kind of like an adobe kind of house or whatever. And she's probably got like mud on her cheeks and she's probably just like covered in it. And she'll kind of kick the kickstand out and she'll go, well, I mean, I'm the smallest one here, so I figured I'd give myself a little bit of an advantage when we're in combat. We seem to be finding that a lot lately. So, and she'll like kind of like turn it around, and on the back you'll see that there's she's gonna start to try to like weave or hand braid a couple of like shoulder things so she can like carry it on her back, so that it's something that's kind of portable, but it's got like a little kickstand and it's definitely just about a little over her height. Just kind of like a portable shield.
Can't wait till we're all level 20 and you've upgraded this thing to have like auto turrets too. Like,
Yeah.
That's actually a brilliant idea.
yeah, and I'll like lean over and knock on it and be like, smart idea.
Yeah, she'll kind of like, you'll see like as you say that sort of stuff to her, like she'll look kind of like proud of her work. Like you'll definitely like see that she's like, oh hey, you're talking to me like a normal person, cool. Hey, like there's like a moment of like, oh good.
Yeah.
You know?
Juno said this was right after she finishes her shift driving, so I'm assuming it was when she was teaching me, and I'm holding the reins as far away from me as possible, like, oh.
Eyes on the road.
Gotta get your hours in.
That's actually a lot smarter than this. And Juno will just like bust out her bulky shield and be like,
Well, now we all want tower shields. Can you make us all?
Yeah.
these get heavy in
We
combat.
all have our
Yeah.
gifts. Like you make moonbeams and stuff. Now Alta's using her ingenuity to make everything work towards her. So yeah, I think we're all bringing something to the table here.
Yeah. Ultra will literally go, yeah, man, like you blow shit up with your mind. So, I mean, I'll trade you.
She's right. You're,
I mean,
you're also
Not
cool.
wrong.
I don't
You're
know
also
if I
cool.
can trade, but I could ask, the Moonweaver if she could help you one of these times.
Yeah.
See
Like,
if
I mean, you can do this. There's no reason you couldn't also try and learn magic. Like, I think you could do it.
Multi-class.
Yeah, and as you guys are like kind of like sitting there chatting with her, like her swarm, which has legitimately the whole time you guys have known her been either
Oh, yeah.
like kingfisher birds or possums like hissing. You see like a couple of them kind of like puff out into like little like kookaburra style birds, like a little bit more like fluffy, a little bit less aggressive, but like still kind of look a little like they look a little bit different, but like she's like trying to lighten up, but it's just not, she's like trying to finger guns it out, but she's like still like so yeah.
Eliseo will like kind of motion to one of the like king sparrows or kingfishers and be like, yeah, like you got these are magic, and it'll like turn into a kookaburra like right then. But, yeah.
Yeah, that's essentially how I would imagine it to go. Is as you guys start to like engage, she's like trying real hard to like put forth the effort, but she really has no idea what's happening still. So she's
Would
just
you
trying.
any of us.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
and
Astro,
Aster, you literally, yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh my god.
What the heck?
No, you.
No, during that conversation, Astro like drew craft a couple of just like little flowers, like little honeysuckles or something to kind of spread out the wood of the whatchamacallit, the cart, and yeah, there's on the inside just a little bit.
I got
floral.
chalk if you're trying to make decorations or something. I don't know.
I don't
I'm
know.
not
They
artistic,
just
like
smell good.
so.
They do. They smell very
I
nice.
do.
Also, Aster, what did you do with that roper's teeth?
Oh, I mean,
you
she
grab
just
teeth,
kinda
right?
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
she just kind of shows like the string of them up, and you notice that a couple of them are starting to have like these little etchings that almost look like they resemble bark to a certain extent, and it's like, yeah, like I'm not really sure what is gonna turn out from these, but I'm hoping it'll be something special and maybe protective, something like that. I don't know. I'm just kind of working on it as I go.
Oh gosh, I wish I was that smart. And like you guys see like this moment of like kind of like doubt wash over.
Hey, you're smart.
Well,
Well-
they're smart in different ways.
I
Don't
always
talk about my wife like that.
I feel like I have been given gifts. I don't necessarily know I sometimes struggle with knowing if it's me that's capable of doing things or if it's just the Moonweaver acting through me, if that makes sense.
Would the
Ultimately,
Moonweaver have given her gifts to somebody who wasn't supposed to use them? Or capable of using them?
Damn.
And then I like from the front of the car, I'm like, didn't I just ask you for advice because I thought you were good at something?
that too, but it's
Okay,
also
but for real, most supportive spouse award. Holy shit.
that too is very accurate, but also it's ultimately your decision how you use those gifts. And from what we've seen of you so far, you've used them perfectly. Like it's ultimately what you decide to do with them is what I think about it.
Chrissy, you're muted.
Ulta, as soon as Aster kind of like affirms that, Ulta's gonna pipe up and go, yeah, man, I mean, I regularly try to get rid of these shitheads all the time, and like, you'll see one of the like, kookaburras just kind of like poop, and I'm like, these motherfuckers, you know what I mean? Like, just trying to say, like, it's what you do with it, you know what I mean? Like, I try to get rid of my gifts all the time, and they don't go anywhere, so...
Just this Faye pooping on your shoulder.
See, that brings up an interesting point. How did you pick up those friends?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. You know, a little while ago, while I was doing some of my training, they just kind of showed up, and they won't go away now. Ever. They're with me all the time.
Does that bother you?
She'll point to, like, the little pile of, like, Faye fucking kookaburra poop on her arm, and she's like, I mean, it's not ideal sometimes, but I'm getting used to it, you know?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Wait. This is the character with prestidigitation. So I'm just gonna just kind of do a little like one finger boop and just make it disappear for you. Just like,
yeah, thank you. And then she'll turn to Aster, and she'll be like, don't forget, Aster, like, you've saved me a handful of times while we've been traveling, so I think, you know, all of us at this point have gifts that we should probably start utilizing in different ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you're a bear.
Also an elf.
I'm a bear.
And
Bear.
a spider.
Spider.
The spider move was pretty
Being
slick.
out, no,
Look, all the animal moves are pretty slick.
being out here has definitely been interesting. I'm definitely learning more things to shape it to. Hopefully, there's been some really different stuff, but yeah, I appreciate that. It isn't super often that I get to really test my abilities and everything. So, past couple of days have been interesting for sure.
Oh yeah.
How do you make this thing turn?
Oh my gosh.
Back to reality. I'm trying to drive.
There's
I'm
not
gonna,
even
like-
a turn in the road. Why are you turning right now? We're going straight.
In case of emergency.
I'm gonna send Puff up there to kind of ratatouille it in his hair and just like yank on one side of the hair if he needs to turn.
I like that. He ends up just kind of like clawing at Icarus's head, like almost in a panic. Oh man. Too
all our
good.
I feel like that
Tracks on
makes
the
it
road are
harder.
The tracks of the road are just swerving everywhere.
All right. So, at this point, you guys are at the precipice of dusk. You're entering into the evening to the point that you know you should be either you're heading to rest soon, like within an hour or two, or risking potential exhaustion. At this point, like sense of danger is still at a low. Like you don't feel like you're gonna be attacked in the wilderness or anything like that. You are in the Holy City of Elturel. I will shift you to this map.
Are there any more checks that need to be made for crafting or enchanting?
Does anybody have other ones to make? Because we'll just say we went through the full day, full 8 hours for that. Oh, I gotta. Sorry, chat. I'm
Ooh, pretty
gonna
map.
adjust this for you.
And when do we have to start looking for things? When we get to 50 skill points and
50
many
skill
successes?
points.
20 successes.
20 successes, 10 failures.
I'm at 19 successes, so keep
At-
an eye out.
At some point, Juno will have cast Enhance ability on both Aster and Ulta.
I mean, Heck
Because her
deserves
brother is
enhanced ability.
driving, and so she's not going to cast Enhance ability on that because she's just going to let
That
him.
seems more important if I'm being honest.
Nah,
No, it's a lost cause. No.
no. And I'm kind of blinded a little bit by ego of my spouse's abilities. I'm like, they're
Aw.
fine. They know what they're doing. I don't know enough about these two to know if they know about crafting and enchanting because I've watched my spouse work on spells and stuff like that in our home before, so I'm like, they're comfortable with this. They know what they're doing. So I would just cast Enhance ability once or
Y'all-
twice on them during the day. When
Y'all
they're
are
like,
like-
I think I've got it. Just cast it then. And
Y'all are like physical manifestations of what I'm working on, and I'm like, here's 6 pages of scribbles. It's going well, and all of you are like, sure, I can't tell if it's going well or not.
So to clarify, is this a 4th day? Because we've done 3 days already. So would this be
Yeah.
a 4th day of skill checks, or
We're
have
currently-
we already done everything?
We're
End of
currently at
third.
the end of the 3rd day.
Okay. Then yeah, I am.
so maybe you just like
100%
treat
done.
one of those like you had it with advantage. And you just
Oh,
roll
lit.
an extra one
Okay.
just in cases.
That works. Yeah.
All right, I'll do. I think I did that.
I should have been doing that during more days. What I
Same,
didn't
same.
realize I like
Aster also has it. But I
could be
didn't think about
helping
that.
people while I was just
It's
sitting there
fine.
twiddling my thumbs for 4 hours.
It's fine.
Doing tricep dips. I didn't realize
It's
that I could be
fine.
helping others.
I'll just re-roll one of them. How about that?
Hey, you know what? We appreciate you.
Nope.
That's a natural one.
Ooh.
Good God. I'm glad it was with advantage because that won't make it a critical fail. It was like a
Correct.
6 or something instead. We're
Woof.
good. We're fine still. God.
So if I recall correctly, when the city of Elturel was first mentioned, you guys did history checks to see who knew of the city in the first place, and Ulta was the only one who succeeded. Is that correct?
I do
Yeah.
believe
For
so.
your
So I called it
My
recollection?
brother and I
Eldorado.
have like rarely left home, so
So I didn't know about it beforehand, but with the fancy eye in the sky, I got a natural 20. So
yeah, you're
who-
like, oh
who knows
yeah,
what
this
to play?
place.
Right.
Okay, so we're gonna even those out for you, Icarus, because it was a nat 20, and because I said what I said already. So Icarus and Ulta, you can make history checks to see what, if anything else, you might know about this city, because at this point, until we know the result of those rolls, you are now entering the eastern gates of a city with a magical orb above it. Ouch.
I also knew the thing about the magic orb, so with Icarus, so can I roll for history? too?
Let's give one of them
Okay.
advantage, because you didn't know about the city, but
Yes, but I knew about the orb.
the magic.
Yeah,
we're
same.
gonna even out the narrative with just the mechanic,
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
give it advantage for Icarus.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna roll again.
Icarus,
then.
do better. I did
Better!
not mean
He
like
did better.
By 1.
Hey, sometimes that's all it takes.
All right. So
Chat, that is a 12.
rolled an 11. I said do better. He did the bare minimum he needed to. The 12.
Just like usual when you ask me to do better.
8.
Okay, so Icarus, you would have heard of a few general key locations within the city and about it. So you know that the city lies directly on the Corinthar, is that the name? River. Let me double check to make sure I'm saying that right. Chionthar. Chionthar. Chionthar River. Directly to its south, which it does have one bridge directly across. Although the bridge does not go to other parts of the city, it just goes across into the plains area on the other side. A lightly traveled trade route. Within the city, you know there is a market area referred to as Shiara's Market, as well as a docking area also for trade and travel. And then there are, you know that there are other aspects of the city that you're just not familiar with. You know that this is on the large side of cities you've heard of and experienced. And there's a lot going on that you're not sure about, but you know about at least those two key aspects about it.
As I'm sitting in the front seat, I'm assuming I'm not driving at this point because I was driving at the beginning of the day.
Yeah,
I
we
am going
don't
to
trust you entering a
stand
city.
up on like this on this passenger seat, turn around, and as I turn around, I'm going to disguise self into a slender young adult human male with brown hair that's long and up in a man bun, and I'm going to be like, "Hello, travelers. I'm going to be your tour guide for today, and
Boy.
we are approaching the city of Elturel, the
Can I
Holy
cast
City.
silence?
Popular locations we're going to be visiting are Shiara's Market and the Dragon Eye Docks. Where would you like to head first? What are your intentions for the city?"
You do know that we collected whips at our last location, right?
I mean,
Yes, but as a famous musician once said, chains and whips excite me.
Hey!
just for that.
No.
As I have like this newscaster smile, like,
There's
Please
no
cast
war in the city,
silence.
correct?
oh, do I know where the monks would reside from my history or no?
You would not.
I have
Oh.
no idea. Let's look around.
Niffer really wants to
They
know what
didn't
this
tell us
means
where
these
to meet
days.
them.
They didn't.
No, we
They just
didn't.
said in the city of Elturel.
I mean,
Don't we remember that he's a harper? Do we know where the harpers are? Because we're
yeah, I was
harpers.
gonna say,
We're
like,
secretive as hell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
It's
like,
like
we're
asking,
really.
hey, we're the CIA. Where's the CIA? We're totally a part of your group.
Don't worry, you can trust me.
I will say that, like, immediately in front of you, you see an amalgamation of residences and shops and people flowing in and out of every which direction. Even though it's toward the end of the evening, it seems like a busy and bustling town. Although at this point, you can tell that there are concentrations of people flocking to a couple of different types of buildings. Some of them are on the like multi-level and larger side, and others are more brightly lit than the rest, but smaller.
What if we
Is-
start around the market dock area and then go outward?
I was gonna say, what's like the elevation of this section? Because with all these lines, it looks like it's like way higher than the rest of the city. Is that
You would not be
True.
able to see that.
okay? I didn't know if it was like Minas Tirith, like layered situation, or if it was just like
Right.
a minor difference.
Good question. Your line of sight pretty much stops around like this distance,
Cool.
just between the
Yeah.
sheer volume of buildings.
Yeah. If it were like obvious, I'd be like, let's just head for the high ground and look down. But like, if it's not an obvious elevation, then it's just like, okay, let's just wander, I guess.
Good
Pub
point.
crawl?
We could ask around the market if anyone knows him.
I was gonna say if
Again,
Alta could keep an eye out for Lord's Alliance symbols.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we could keep an eye out for Harper's symbols and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, just really any organization symbol would be great.
I will not be looking for my organization symbols, but y'all can.
No, we
I
will
have this.
not.
I have this vision in my head that we park the cart, everyone gets out, like, this is my idea, we're gonna start going this way, and I'm standing there like, I was the tour guide, like running to catch up with everyone as I'm left behind.
Icarus, you would know that the market area is on the southeastern, the market and the docks are on the southeastern side of town. You can't currently see them, but you also know you're entering the northeastern corner of the town. Or the city. I keep saying town. This is a big city at this point.
Big city.
So you'd get a general sense of direction that you need to go down this main road and take an eventual turn to your left in order to get to the area you're going for. You don't know the exact. I mean, this is all sort of flavor text at this point. You would have to sort of poke around a little bit in order to get there, but you do have a general sense of overall direction you need to go to get to the market and docks area, if that's where you want to go.
I will also be 100% BSing historical facts on the way where we're
Oh
going.
boy.
Let's hear
Like,
it.
Elturel, the Holy City, is actually renowned for its clerical organizations. They have many high temples and churches, and they're known as the most beautiful in the area.
Make a performance check.
Are we gonna pick up more people on this walking tour of the city?
Please.
Please. Please.
Natural
Oh my
20
God.
for 27.
yes.
So as you're going down this first stretch before the fork that you know you'd need to take in order to head the direction you're going, you'd catch like a handful of people sort of just meandering around, heading out of one building into another or down some alleyways. And you're like booming out this totally sellable story that you're telling about the city. And a few people will be like, huh? Oh, yeah. Oh, check that out. And they start sort of following you as you're
Men
going
You're
along.
on your
Urban
left is
legend.
Bertha's Kebab Shop. That is the best kebab in Elturel. Hands down. Everybody stop by
original.
for a snack.
It's the original, not the other one on the other side of the city. You come to this
Oh,
one.
Bobby's Kebab Shack? You better bet that's some fake shit.
Oh, man. you guys look to your left and you see like a jewelry shop, like not even close.
If you
that's
look, the
carrots.
beads of the jewelry are actually... I'm just
They're
trying
actually
way too
edible.
hard.
But it's believable.
Yeah.
It is believable. It's a damn good performance.
Okay. In that similar vein, my family has convinced many, many people that all the palm trees in Florida are fake because there was like a plague that wiped them all out years ago. Many people believe that because my family just told them. So like, yeah, you can say anything and people will go with it. Like, you got this, dude. I'm proud of you.
Y'all thought this was going to be stupid, but I'm winning at it.
You are.
Anything else while
Where do
we're
we
traveling
go
now?
from there? Like we've peaked.
I will be dragging the horse and carriage situation with us. Like, I'm not just gonna leave them at the front gates and hope that someone will not steal this.
Sure,
I
and it's
actually-
pretty clear that these wider, so these like darker colored pathways, like from, you see this crossroad right here?
Yeah.
I know that the color kind of bleeds in a little bit, especially toward the middle area, but as long as you see that darker color, that indicates a wide enough path that you could easily lead your horses and cart through, as if it was built for that. So it's not difficult at all to do that.
Is it possible for me to keep my eyes open specifically for, 1, a monastery, or 2, a Harper's building? Mostly because I want to find it just before they do and be able to tour guide it for them.
You might not want to announce a Harper's building.
Don't.
Yeah.
Maybe don't.
I
do
would
that.
probably.
Okay, but I still
Great.
want to notice it first.
You can
Yeah,
make an
yeah,
investigation
that's-
check.
Oh, shoot.
Can I keep an eye out for Lord's Alliance stuff too?
Yeah, anybody who's looking for anything specific, go ahead and make a investigation check. And if it's anything other than your faction symbols,
I hate
let me
my
know.
life.
I rolled a natural 20 for 22.
Okay.
Wow.
What is with, like,
I rolled a 4 and a 3.
I'm like a Harper in law.
12 to look
Can I
for
look
Emerald,
for
I
that?
believe.
You can, yeah.
D&D Beyond loves me today. I don't get it. I never roll
I
this.
do not feel that same sense of
It's
affection.
investigation. Honey, I'll share with you. It's fine. I got 24 to help Juno beat her brother specifically.
I am doing my best to keep this horse and
I'm-
buggy system in line.
If I see it before Icarus, I'm gonna like elbow Juno and tell her so she can point it out before Icarus.
Okay. You would, by this point, you would catch a brief glimpse, Icarus, of Leosin. He is clearly in good health. He's in a lot cleaned up a lot more cleaned up state. He's wearing a little bit more. He's not in the like rags that he was wearing when he was captured. He's not beat up and bloodied. He's all cleaned up. He's wearing a nice tunic and with like a little cape off the back of it. He looked good. Okay, and he's just waving you down.
I'm gonna point the opposite direction and say, and if you all wonderful guests, look over there, you'll see, and I'll like just BS something and run the other direction as soon as they all look.
So you're heading toward him directly?
Toward him, pointing all the people following us in the other direction, like as a fake out, I'm just running.
Okay, so he will be in very good spirits at the point that you guys get to him, and generally greet all of you and say, "I'm glad you've made it. I apologize for leaving ahead of schedule, but I had very important business to cover. Please join me and my friends for the evening. We will reconcile everything that's happened and move on toward next steps."
Does he seem apologetic? I'm still a little bit butthurt that he just did.
you can insight check that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna ask him, do you guys have a lot of storm giants around here? Like, out of the blue.
Storm giants? Can't say I've encountered any myself, but it's my experience that myth is at least somewhat tied to some truth at some point in time somewhere. Is that actually at advantage, Corndog?
Yes.
Okay. He is truly apologetic, and you can tell he has a lot to share with you. As he says, he has a lot to share with you.
Yeah, my palate elf ways is just incisive sense. You have advantage on intelligence, investigation, and wisdom insight checks.
Nice.
Just my buggy elf eyes reading people. Giving them good up
What do your
down.
elf eyes see?
Mhm.
I see this
Look
man's
with your-
soul.
Look with your elven eyes.
Okay,
My prayer.
so he's going to lead you just a couple of buildings away. And just before you turn off into the corner to get into the sort of middle of the ground sized, it almost looks like a tavern from the front. But as you... Oh, good night, Joey.
Good night,
Hey,
Joey.
Joey.
I can always tell because he just like opens the door and I hear this like like he's trying to say something, but headphones. But it's not a complete sentence, so it's just like, oh, hey, there you are, just poking his eye in.
All of us yell.
One of these days he'll make a full appearance. He almost got to it that one time. Anywho, so you guys enter the front door. Like there's nothing covert about what's happening. He's just leading you to, and he actually takes the reins of the horses right next to you, Juno, and make sure to like tie them to a post that's stands in front of this building. And you can see that several buildings along this roadway have these sort of posts. Ties them up and pulls out like an apple from his pocket for each of the horses and hands it off to both of them before leading you guys inside.
He's wearing cargo shorts, pulling out snacks.
Absolutely.
And he's going to take you past the sort of main front room of this. This is clearly like an inn and tavern sort of space, and leads you in to a sort of back room. And you're greeted by 3 other folks. I need to show you some pictures.
Well, he pulls those up. I just gotta say, I've been playing a lot of original Assassin's Creed recently, and so I'm really bummed we didn't have to like climb a bunch of buildings and drop down into this for
Yep.
just to get into this building.
I completely forgot that I'm not myself right now.
Yeah. So he's
I
sees
mean,
this
you're-
really
Yeah, so you
cute
just
guy.
like sprinted at him as this human male. And he doesn't know.
Yes, you did.
That happened.
And he didn't react to that. So take that how you will. So you're greeted with a total. Oh no, it's just 3 people total. Sorry, it's just him and 2 other people. The other 2, I gotta get these right.
Show.
That was kind of loud.
We heard you.
Where are you? Okay, there you are. So a larger human man clad in thorough heavy armor
We're supposed to find him.
introduces himself as Anthar Froom. He bears, it would be obvious, he bears on the torso portion of his very heavy, very clean armor, a symbol that you'd recognize as the Order of the Gauntlet. The other person in the other man in the room, it is a total of 3. I'm sorry. There's one other very old, long beard, bald head. He's wielding a large staff that looks like it was just like a branch ripped off a tree.
Brassy person.
This guy, who introduces himself as Rydoff. Move this down for stream to see. Sorry. And the first one is rather charismatic. He's kind of bubbly. He's clearly got this excited look in his eyes to see you guys. Rydoff is on the shy, reserved side. He's still sitting at the table that the 3 of them are sitting around. He's sort of sipping on this cup of tea, and gives you a shy, like a nod. And all he says is, "Yes, Rydoff. Yes." And really doesn't say anything else toward you. And the final person to introduce themselves is of a stern and strong demeanor. Sorry, I gotta get rid of this as I'm talking. Multitasking, am I right? A stern and strong demeanor. She has long black hair that sort of covers one eye, and is brandishing a rather intense longsword and like fur-aligned armor. She's decorated, and she introduces herself as Astriel Shalin. In that order, they also introduce themselves as Anthar from the Order of the Gauntlet, Rydoff from the Emerald Enclave,
Heyo.
and Astriel from the Lord's Alliance.
Heyo.
I'm guessing that means Leosin's our boss. I like whispered to my sister.
We already knew that.
Nice to meet you. I'm Timothy, their tour guide. I was just like,
So, at this point, we did say we needed to end a bit early tonight, for various reasons. So I think, thinking ahead to the potential conversations you guys might have with this crew, this would probably be the best point to do so. We will note that all of your factions are represented here, as well as one more, right?
Like, can I adopt the Order of the Gauntlet, guys, since I don't have one?
they're like gaudy, like paladins and
They
clerics.
like all of them are clearly in their own way sort of like cleaned up, decorated. They have a presentation about themselves, and they are clearly in the middle of their own sort of meeting.
Oh.
So we might have a little bit of off-stream, discussion about if we got to reconcile anything to this point, and if you guys want to sort of gather thoughts about what potentially to bring up on your own, aside from the discussion that they will bring to you, we'll start the next session with all of that. So, yes, we're gonna call it there for tonight. So if you don't mind, Sir Heckalot, we'll go around one more time and make sure everybody knows who you are and wrap it up.
For sure.